Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Kathleen Rasmussen. One of my positions at ADECA is serving as the labor specialist for the Community Development Block Grant Program. In this compliance training session, I'm going to talk about the U.S. Department of Labor's labor standards that are designed to be followed by Alabama's local community grant recipients who will be expending their CDBG grant funds on construction activities, which activities can include water projects, sewer projects, street paving and road building projects, drainage projects, and similar activities related to other or larger construction projects. The second slide shows what is included in the labor standards. First is the Davis-Bacon and related acts, which govern the federal labor standards, when these acts apply, and to whom they apply. Second are the grantee's responsibilities. Third, the prime contractor's responsibilities on the CDBG construction project and when those responsibilities apply. And fourth is choosing a wage decision to accompany the notice of start of construction. This third slide shows the four main pieces of legislation that make up what is known as the Davis-Bacon and related acts. These were established by Congress as a means to protect and enhance the welfare of the nation's workforce. The first of these acts is the Davis-Bacon Act, which requires that all contractors and subcontractors must pay their laborers and mechanics no wage amount that is less than the prevailing wage rate plus the fringe benefit amount for their corresponding class of laborers and mechanics who are employed on similar construction projects in that particular geographic area, meaning by state and county. The second of these acts is the Copeland Anti-Kickback Act, which has three main parts. First is construction workers must be paid by their employer on a weekly basis. Second, it is allowable for the employer to have deductions taken from the construction worker's pay. And third, the company must maintain and submit weekly payrolls to verify that the company's workers are being paid the prevailing Davis-Bacon wage rate for that job classification in that geographical area, again, meaning the state and the county. The third and fourth of these acts are the Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act and the Fair Labor Standards Act, which state that workers are to receive overtime pay for any hours they work that are in excess of 40 hours in 1 week. Overtime pay is considered to be time and a half pay. Keep in mind that the calculation of time and a half pay only applies to the wage portion of the employee's compensation, as time and a half overtime pay does not apply to the fringe benefits portion. These four Davis-Bacon and related acts apply to CDBG funded projects when a construction project amounts to over $2,000 and is funded in whole or in part by CDBG funds. One exception to this is when the entire CDBG project is demolition. If the whole project is demolition, then the Davis-Bacon Act criteria do not apply. Think of it this way. Davis-Bacon is about construction and demolition is about destruction. But if you have a project that is demolition and other construction activity, then Davis-Bacon does apply to the whole project. The applicable wage decision would be based upon the type of construction for that subsequent construction activity. Now, let's see to whom does the Davis-Bacon Act apply. Davis-Bacon applies to the laborers and mechanics employed by the prime contractor as well as those employed by any subcontractors. The term mechanics in this case refers to the journeymen and skilled workers, to the operators or equipment operators, and to the truck drivers listed on a wage decision. And these laborers and mechanics must be working on the CDBG funded job site in order for Davis-Bacon to apply. Next is who is responsible for what with regard to labor standards. The grantee is responsible for the administration and enforcement of the labor standards requirements to ensure compliance. Withholding payments to the contractor for the construction work performed on the project is the way in which the grantee is able to enforce these labor standards. The prime contractor has the responsibility for being in full compliance with the labor standards requirements as they apply not only to the prime contractor's employees, but also to the subcontractor's employees. The prime contractor is also responsible for obtaining and reviewing the payrolls submitted from the subcontractors. Next is choosing a wage decision. The project engineer is the one who will choose which wage decision to use. The engineer has a choice to make among which wage decision to use, either building, residential, highway, and heavy. The first thing to know is that you must choose a wage decision based upon two factors. The first is the type of construction project being done, and the second is the county where the CDBG project is located. So, how do you find the correct wage rates for your project's notice of start of construction? On the internet, go to Google, go to www.wdol.gov, which takes you to the U.S. Department of Labor's webpage entitled Wage Determinations Online. Under the heading Davis-Bacon Act, click on Selecting DBA WDs, and this takes you to the Selecting DBA Wage Decisions webpage. Scroll down to the portion that starts with the state of Alabama. At County, click on the drop-down menu to find the county in which your project is located. At Construction Type, click on the type of construction that your project will be doing, such as building or heavy or highway or residential. For example, let's choose heavy, which is what water and sewer projects are. At WD number, click on the appropriate wage decision number. So you will see an AL5, which is for dredging projects along the Gulf Coast. AL8 is for dredging construction projects. AL131 is for construction type heavy, including water and sewer line construction. Print out that page, attach it to your project's notice of start of construction form, and send it to ADECA's CDBG labor specialist, as well as the CDBG program manager working on your project. Now I'll give you directions on accessing ADECA's website for this Notice of Start of Construction form. Go to www.adeca.alabama.gov or Google ADECA to get the ADECA homepage. Click on the Divisions drop-down menu and click on Community and Economic Development. Click on Community Development Programs or scroll down to Program Areas and click on Community Development Programs. Click on Program Areas or scroll down to Program Areas and click on Community Development Block Grant. Scroll down and click on Current Forms and Sample Documents, and then click on Labor Standards for the Notice of Start of Construction form. Next, there are 4 different types of construction. The CDBG project determines the type of construction, and in turn, the type of construction determines what wage decision is to be used. The first type of construction is building construction. The U.S. Department of Labor says building construction includes the construction of sheltered enclosures with walk-in access for the purposes of housing persons, machinery, equipment, or supplies. Some examples of building construction are apartment buildings that are 5 stories and above, auditoriums, fire stations, motels, museums, theaters, and similar larger buildings. The second type of construction is residential construction. The U.S. Department of Labor says residential construction includes the construction, alteration, or repair of apartment buildings that are 4 stories or less, mobile home developments, multifamily houses, single-family houses, townhomes, and this will also include work that is incidental to the construction work, such as site work, parking areas, utilities, and sidewalks. Note the difference when we are talking about apartment building construction, as this can be either building construction if the apartments are 5 stories or more, or residential construction if it's 4 stories or less. The third type of construction is highway construction. The U.S. Department of Labor says highway construction includes the construction, alteration, or repair of alleys, curbs, parking lots, runways, or other similar paving projects that are not incidental to building or heavy construction. The fourth type of construction is heavy construction. The U.S. Department of Labor says heavy construction includes those projects that are not properly classified as either building, residential, or highway. Heavy construction is not a uniform or standardized classification. It is really the catch-all of the different types of construction, which can include dams, drainage projects, flood control projects, irrigation projects, railroad construction, outdoor swimming pools, and water and sewer projects. On ADECA's website, we have posted documents relating to labor standards, and I will direct you to where these are located on our website. We've already looked at the Notice of Start of Construction form, so we're going to look at the other forms. Go to www.adeca.alabama.gov or Google ADECA to get to the ADECA homepage. Click on the Divisions drop-down menu and click on Community and Economic Development. Then click on Community Development Programs or scroll down to Program Areas and click on Community Development Programs. Then click on Program Areas or scroll down to Program Areas and click on Community Development Block Grant. Scroll down and click on Current Forms and Sample Documents. Then click on Labor Standards for all of the forms. Since we've already looked at the Notice of Start of Construction form, we won't be looking at that now. Scroll down or click on Compliance Checklists and click on Labor Standards for our Labor Compliance Monitoring Checklist. Scroll down or click on Closeout and click on Final Wage Compliance Report for our closeout document on labor compliance. And go back to Closeout and click on Closeout Checklist to see on page 2 where we ask question number 3 on the Final Wage Compliant Report information. If you have any questions, call the ADECA CDBG Labor Specialist at 334-353-0323. Thank you.